Hey guys, I'm Christina with All Mom Does, and today I'm going to teach you 3 ways to make candy windows for your homemade gingerbread houses without having to use a candy thermometer. So all 3 of these methods are super easy, but do be aware that when you're working with melted sugar, it's really hot. So I'm a big proponent of kids in the kitchen, but for this particular task, those littles definitely aren't helping out because they can get really burned. So a couple things to just know before we get started is if you're looking for that really intricate or really clear transparent glass, these aren't the techniques that you're going to be using. You will need to use a candy thermometer and some more advanced methods, but these are very basic methods. They'll work. You can get colored glass in your windows, and so let's get started. So for this demonstration, I have made just a sample wall of gingerbread with 3 different windows, and I'm gonna fill each of them with a different type of window. So as you can see, this gingerbread is a little over baked, but this isn't a baking tutorial. This is a window tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first method is the absolute easiest, and all you have to do is choose a type of hard candy. So I just have these little butterscotch browns, but you can use like Jolly Ranchers or Lifesavers, but this is super simple. So all you're gonna do, you're gonna take the candy and you'll put it in a Ziploc bag. And then you're gonna seal up the Ziploc. And so now that we have our crushed hard candy, we're gonna go ahead and put them into one of the windows. And you'll wanna use a little bit more than you think because it all melts down. So here we have parchment paper underneath, which is gonna prevent it from sticking to the pan and keep everything a little neater. And also I want you to notice that this is face up. So this is the front of my gingerbread, and then the back is on the bottom. And now we're going to put this into the oven at 350 degrees for about 5 minutes. So our gingerbread has just come out of the oven with the melted candy, and this is what it looks like. You'll need to let it harden before you lift it up, but it melts down really nicely. And you can even use multiple colors and do kind of like a swirl pattern, or really anything you want. You can probably even use candy canes if you wanted to do a red and white opaque window. But that's super simple, and that's how it turns out. Now, the next method of making gingerbread candy windows only requires 1 ingredient, and that's sugar. And so we're gonna melt it in a pan with a wooden spoon, and we have to stir it constantly and watch it carefully. So take about 1 cup of sugar, just put it in a pan, put it over medium heat, and just stir it constantly, and then it should melt down. This method is going to result in more of an amber colored window just because the sugar kind of is cooking on its way to being burnt. So just be aware that that's the color you're going to get. You can use some food coloring too. So this time I'll use some blue food coloring. So with the yellow sugar, I should have some green windows. So you would mix that in at the end after your sugar has been all the way melted. So now that our melted sugar is done and colored, we're just gonna pour it right into our window. And then we'll let it harden. So finally, the third technique is a microwave technique. It's actually super easy, and if you've ever made microwave peanut brittle, you'll probably recognize the recipe because it's pretty similar. So what you'll want is you'll want a microwave safe container. It's going to get really hot, so make sure it's microwave safe and make sure it has a handle. So normally I use this 4-cup Pyrex. Today I'm only going to make a half portion, so I'm going to use a little bit smaller one. But if you're making the full portion, you'll put in 1 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup of corn syrup. And here's a little tip: when you're measuring sticky substances like corn syrup, if you just spray it with a little cooking spray, then it'll slide right out. And then after you've done that, you're gonna microwave this for 5 minutes in your microwave, and afterwards you'll stir it, and then you're gonna continue microwaving for 30-second increments. So keep an eye on this. When it's a light amber color, you're done. And then if you want to add food coloring at that point, you can put in some food coloring to tint your windows. So this one looks like it got a little darker than I expected, but that's probably because I was doing a half portion. But do keep an eye on your sugar, and if it starts to turn yellow, take it out and stir it. It might be done sooner than the 5 minutes. I feel like every time I do it, it's a different time. So stir in your food coloring, and then you're ready to pour. And here's a tip for cleaning up. All of this sugar is going to harden, and so I have a pan that's full of sugar that I just used, and then I have this that's going to harden, and it's just going to be all full of sugar, and I'm not going to be able to get it out. So what you just do is you just fill all of your things with water and stick it in the sink, and it'll dissolve because it's just sugar. So cleanup is actually super simple, even though it doesn't seem like it. Okay, now we've made our 3 types of gingerbread candy windows, and it's the moment of truth, and we'll see how they turn out. And they just come right up from the parchment, and so here they are. If you look at the back, so this is why we have it face up. So this is the side that you'll see. So when you assemble your gingerbread house, you know, this is the side that you're gonna see, and you can put piping around to make it a little more clean. But if you see on the back here, you can see where sometimes the candy bleeds through if it's not perfectly flat. So you don't want that on the outside of your gingerbread. So that's why we started face up. So all these are pretty thick, but you might be able to see, I'm not sure how well you can see, but a little bit of light does get through the lighter color and some of the red. This darker color is pretty thick, so you're not going to be able to see a whole lot of light through that. But you could also put some lights behind inside your gingerbread house to bring out the windows. But when you do that, make sure you use LED because you don't want any sort of lights that are going to emit any heat, because these are sugar and they'll melt. So happy gingerbread making. I hope this was helpful. It's not nearly as intimidating as you think. So if you've ever wanted to try gingerbread house windows, this is the year to do it. So I hope your gingerbread creations turn out great, and I can't wait to hear about it. Leave us a comment and make sure to subscribe on YouTube and like us on Facebook. Check us out at allmomdoes.com.